Damon, you're on mute.
We
Am I on mute?
will miss you greatly. I'm sure you've heard that a lot, but
Well, thanks.
you have done so much wonderful work for not only us, but everybody. And hate to see you go, but I'm sure you have great things that that you have planned.
I have nothing planned, but we will figure something out.
Nothing is not a bad thing at times. Well,
All right, the meeting is going to go live in 1 minute, and I don't want to be talking about me when that happens.
I understand.
But thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks for all the, yeah, for sure.
And I'll be. Do you have any special needs for this meeting? Presenting anything or?
I don't think so. I'm
Okay.
not aware of anything. I think it sounds pretty normal.
All right, I'll be hanging out if you need me.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Adrian.
There we go.
Hey, thank you so much for all the work you have done. I can tell you really put a lot of time into it. It looks really great.
Thanks. I'm someone who has a little extra or a lot of extra, more time than others, and I tend to find great comfort in structure. So,
Well, you definitely, I think you definitely put us at an advantage going into this grant season and for seasons to come. So thank you for putting your time into it, for sure. Hi, Stella.
Hey, Stella.
Hi, so I'm coming back Monday.
Oh, really? Wow, that's exciting.
Bentornata.
Yes. So
Carissima.
I received the passport today and I booked the flight, and so hopefully.
Oh, fantastic, Stella. It was meant to be.
Yes, at the end.
Apparently.
Well, that is cool.
How long have you been away in all?
6 months. Since
Oh, I thought it was even longer. Yeah.
No, 6 months, but it's like since I've been in the US, I've never been in Italy so long. I mean, usually it's like during the summer, 2-3 months. It's not like so.
Sounds like things are heating up a little bit over there with the virus. I've read the reports from Austria that they're kind of buckling down now with those who are not vaccinated.
Yes. Yeah, in Italy, they were thinking about doing something like that. I don't know if they will, but.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's probably a good time to take flight.
Yeah,
at least so you can
sure
come back over here and.
Yeah, I don't want to get stuck again. Maybe if I don't come back now, it'll be like, no, we are closing again. No.
Oh, well, you can. That's a good idea. Well, I suppose we should wait a couple more minutes. Oh, there's Elizabeth. It looks like everyone is here, but Nana, are we? Anyone else not here? Oh, there he is. Perfect. Great. All right. Well, how about we go ahead and get started then? Are we missing anybody else?
Amanda?
Oh, Amanda. Well, we will definitely need Amanda. So we'll wait another minute. I bet she'll roll in soon. How is everybody? Doing well, I hope.
Okay.
Good.
Loving the fall colors this year.
They're really more beautiful than I remember them.
They are. They're stunning this year.
They've hung on for a while too, which is nice. Mhm. Yeah. Let's see. Well, while we are here, I think we can go ahead and open up and take a look at approving our minutes. Oh, good.
We-
There's Amanda. Awesome. Great. So we're all here. Wonderful. So did anyone I presume everyone's had a chance to look at the minutes. Did anybody have any amendments that they would like to propose? Yes, Nana? You're muted, by the way.
Nana, you're on mute.
Okay,
That's better.
I'm okay now.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. With the travel the travel support that was given was not 1,005. It was 2,000.
Your request was 2,000.
Yes, and that needs to be corrected.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Elizabeth, do you want to make the edits as secretary?
I'm making them as we speak.
Oh, great. I figured, but you know.
I
Okay.
also need someone to let me know. I recognize it'll just be a number to put in and it may not be the exact moment, but I wasn't sure what time the meeting adjourned. And I'd like to add that.
Okay. So we didn't go too terribly long after you departed, but well, I think we wrapped up at about 6:27, if I seem to recall.
Okay.
Um,
Did you say 6:27?
I think I remember. I know that's a very specific number. I remember looking at the clock and saying 6:27.
Okay, thank you.
You're
I'll just use that figure as the adjournment time.
Okay. All right. Any other edits to the minutes? Okay. Then do we have a motion to accept the minutes as amended? Anyone, please say aye. Anyone with,
I motion to accept them as amended.
okay, great. Any seconds?
I second.
Great. Thank you, Adrian. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? I presume that she was okay. We had a little delay there. Any abstentions? Okay, so it sounds like it was unanimous.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you. So now on to our secretary's report.
Great. I just have one item. And that is to ask that you note that I have created a new folder on the shared drive entitled Goals and Strategic Plans. And I placed in that folder various copies of goals and strategic plans from past years that were scattered about in other folders on the shared drive. And would ask that as each committee chair and city rep create drafts of the 2022 goals, those documents, as those documents get created, that you upload them to that folder when ready, so that everything will be in a central place going forward.
Thank you for
And,
creating that, Elizabeth, and putting it over there.
Yeah, and if anybody has questions, comments, reactions, I'm happy to hear them.
Can you send me the link of that? I'm having problem with Google Drive for some reason. Can you send me the link of that folder so I can see it now?
You send it to you now? Yes, I can probably do that. Let me get out of this screen and into another screen. Well, you can move on with business if you want to, Damon, while I look for that link and share it, okay?
Okay. I might be able to find it quickly. I've got it right here. I'll put it in the chat.
You're gonna send that to her?
I'll put it in the chat. Does that work for
Okay.
everyone?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got it right here. Okay, go.
May I just ask a quick little question? Damon, do you get that link by simply being in the doc on the Google Drive and then copying the HTTPS, the URL? Is that how you,
That's what I just did.
okay, just checking out on how these things
Maybe
work.
one of you all could click on it and see if it works for you. But yeah, that's what I did. I think that should work for all of us. Okay. So
Yep,
our
that works.
great. Okay.
Great.
So our next, you're finished, Elizabeth?
That's all I have for secretary's report. Yes.
Thank you. So next we have our city rep updates, including our 2022 goals. And first up is Nana. And I do want to point out that we will have the discussion on the funding of his travel and the fire truck at the end of the agenda. So this will be other topics on Winneba.
Yeah, we we are proud to announce that on December 2nd, we are holding a fundraising concert at Paramount to support the activities of our foundation. Yeah, Corey, I don't know whether most of you know him, but he's a very renowned blues musician. Has offered to do a concert, a fundraising concert for us. So, and the ticket is now selling on Paramount is now selling the ticket for $25. So as a commission members, we will ask you to pay $50. And please invite your friends and everybody to come support our cause. Yeah, and still our main goal is to for 2022 is planning on sending a delegation to Winneba for the deer hunting festival in May, and also try to connect all the departments in the in Winneba to departments here in Charlottesville, so that individual departments will have their own connections all under our memorandum of understanding. For example, the forestry department is going to relate to the forestry department in Winneba. The the police is going to relate to the police in Charlottesville. Fire is going to relate to the fire department in Charlottesville, and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that is our goal for the 2022 year. And since the new mayor of Winneba is a new person, and I'm thinking in January, we are also going to get a new mayor. We will also want to link the two mayors for them to start talking to each other. Yeah, that is our main goal. Well, my nephew is there somewhere. Can he add something?
I think you covered the main points, Uncle. I did want to, I know we're going to talk a little bit later about funding for the fire engine, but we did want to report that City Council at their meeting last night gave preliminary approval to the donation of a city fire engine to Winneba. So it's very exciting. Has to go back to council on second reading at their first meeting in December, but by every indication that will be approved. So that was very big news last night.
Great. So if you could email, or if you could upload those goals to the new goal folder, that would be really fantastic.
Yeah, we'll fine tune them.
Okay,
We'll fine tune them and then, yeah, put it there.
sounds good. Or you can, if it's helpful, you're welcome to email them to me and I can upload them or whatever.
Okay.
For you.
All right,
Elizabeth could probably help you.
no
Okay.
problem.
All right, thank you. Next we have,
Dana,
Yes.
Damon, excuse me, just on behalf of the outreach committee, I would like to ask Nana if he can provide any one of us, that's Michael, me, and Stella, with visuals and information text about the concert and about the decision about the fire truck. Both of those are good, concrete events, projects that we can publicize, the outreach committee. But we need the visuals and the text, or at least, some of the skeletal text from you, the
Okay,
main words.
okay. All right. I will get my executive secretary to handle that as soon as practicable.
if anybody is on Facebook in your committee, there's a nice Facebook post about the concert out there.
About the what?
About the blues concert.
Oh,
It's a Paramount.
and on what Facebook page?
Who posted that? I bet Dave, you probably know.
Yeah, the Charlottesville Winneba Foundation has a Facebook page. So there's posts about the fire truck and about the benefit concert with visuals on both. It's probably easiest just to pull from that if you don't mind, or you could even just share those posts if that's easiest. So.
Good point though, Adrian. I mean, anytime we have real events and real things that we're doing, we need to share that. Okay, let's move on to Besançon. Elizabeth?
Okay, so you will find a copy of my 2022 goals for in the folder on the shared drive. There are clearly ongoing goals, which are largely about continuing to network and establish or reestablish connections with all kinds of community members and community partners, both in Charlottesville and in Besançon, who have either assisted with prior sister city exchanges or who are new designees in their organizations for those. And that's just an ongoing goal. I'll always be doing that probably. I also provided you with some updated goal information around exchanges. And so there are several exchanges that are either in early stages of planning or on the books to be resumed in 2022. So I'll keep you posted about those. I am in the early stages of planning a trip myself as the rep to Besançon. It's overdue. We haven't had a visit there since 2018. So it's time for me to go and meet the new local officials, our new primary sister city contacts, introduce myself, and kind of renew those ties and collaborations on our sister city activities. And I hope, travel permitting, that I'll be making that visit sometime in the late spring or early summer. And then the biggest goal I mentioned in some of our, maybe I mentioned this last month in the regular meeting, but I definitely mentioned it in some of our committee meetings last week. And that is that I would like to start the process of creating a more formal kind of network or group of community members in Charlottesville who have a strong interest or ties to Besançon for the purposes of assisting the commission and the Besançon rep, the person in my position, to both promote and carry out sister city exchanges and activities. Don't know where that will lead, and I don't have a specific kind of a structure in mind. This would form kind of the support group that is designated in our bylaws, potentially. Each city rep is is invited to have, in addition to their own standing committee. So obviously Besançon is a standing committee of one right now, but we're also invited to designate kind of a support group, a local support group to that is consistent with the mission of the commission to support that city rep with sister city initiatives. And so the Winneba Foundation is that, obviously, for Winneba, and the Ishtatan Foundation, I think, will be that for Huehuetenango. And there really isn't a comparable entity supporting the Besançon sister city relationship. So I'd like to make that a real focus of some time and energy in 2022. Any questions anyone has about those? Happy to entertain.
Thank you for looking towards traveling to Besançon. I think that's something that we need to do. We need to keep our relationships strong and rich. So that's great.
I just want to say, great idea on getting more community focus on a particular sister city and a group that's dedicated to it right here.
There's a loose coalition of people who, have either ties to Besançon or have been to the sister city, who are interested, who are Francophiles or Francophones. There's been a loose coalition and informal network of people, from the beginning. But what doesn't seem really to have coalesced is something that can feel kind of like a volunteer committee or an advisory board, or some kind of entity that sort of stands ready to step in and really help us when it comes time to carry out, sister city activities, when delegations come to visit, or to help plan delegation visits even. So that's really what I'm aiming for at this point, is, pulling some of those folks into a little bit more of a structured kind of some kind of a structured organization. I don't even know what word to use, but kind of a structured network or entity. So I would love to pick, if other commissioners would, Dave has already offered to offer me his wisdom and expertise and some pointers based on the experience of organizing and creating the Winneba Foundation. If others on the commission would like to brainstorm with me about that, please back channel me. I'd be happy. I'd be happy to benefit from the wisdom and expertise of others who've done this before.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
My pleasure.
Next up, we have Stella and Poggio.
Yes, so basically the main goals will be to close something from last year because we didn't, I mean, I didn't really completed them. One, the main thing that I would like to do finally is to start a real relationship between the schools. So like we talked last time when we did the other meeting, the problem was that it's still difficult to establish a contact between the ones in Charlottesville and the ones in Poggio to make them speak. So I need to find maybe some single teacher more than the school. So that's something that I would like to do like now, maybe now that we're going to break, maybe it's easier for them to they have more time, both in Poggio and both in Charlottesville. We spoke about it with the vice mayor here in Poggio. So he suggested something that maybe they can try to do, like some kind of blog written by the students. So we have to see, I mean, if it's something that that the students can actually do, because it can be it can be difficult because our students in Poggio are only, I mean, so we need to find a school that it's more or less the same age, of course. So, and if it's not a blog, it can be anything else. I mean, even just some kind of virtual exchange that the students can talk to each other. Usually that's something that it happens between sister cities or between, I mean, you know, the evolution of the old pen pal where you were writing the letter to somebody in another country. So it can also be something like that. So this is the main one that I want to start. I mean, I want to do now, if it's possible. And then there was the famous movie, Filippo Mazzei, that wasn't ready until now. So now it's ready. So maybe it's possible to organize something in Charlottesville, like a showing or any other kind of event. So maybe we can also talk about that, like how actually do that if we have to, I don't know, like to book something, I don't know, we can talk about it. And then, what was my file? Oh yes, the famous thing about the street name. The honorary street name that they wanted to do also in Poggio. And I know that the mayor submitted it to the other council people, but apparently I think it stayed there. So that's something that I have to talk with the mayor again. The mayor in Poggio now, it's a little bit overwhelmed also with some family situations. So I need to speak with other people that it's not him, maybe again, the vice mayor that now I'm always talking to him for everything. So I don't know, but I don't know if it's something that they want to do, they still want to do, because they want to do this renovation of the main square. And they said something about using Charlottesville name for at least part of the square. I don't know. It's something that is going to happen anyway in the next years or so, because now they just did the project. So of course they have to find the fundings and everything, but it's something that they have to do because that square needs to be redone. So I don't know if it's going to be that or anything else. So that's also another thing that I would like to close. I don't want to add anything new for now because, I mean, I would like to close something, I mean, you know, so that before starting something new.
Great. Well, thank you, Stella. And I don't know if all of you were here when she mentioned it, but she told us that she would be back in Charlottesville next week, which is very exciting. Congratulations.
Yeah, on Monday. So maybe when it's possible, I mean, I don't know when it's possible, or we can meet, of course, at some point. Maybe.
Actually, that's a good question. Max or Brian, has there been any word on meeting in person?
We are looking at the first week of January to return to in-person meetings. That's going to require council to take action, though, at a meeting in December. They will have to announce that the state of emergency is over and that then we can return to in-person activities.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, next is.
Can I ask a quick follow-up question of Stella?
Sure.
Stella, would you remind me if the school in Poggio you have in mind is an elementary school or a middle school? I remember it's one or the other, but I know it's one or the other, but I can't remember which.
I was thinking about the middle school.
Middle school, okay,
There is one middle school and there are 3 elementary schools.
okay,
Don't know,
Got
maybe also some, the elementary schools until a few years ago, they didn't study English. So I think now
okay.
they-
Okay, so they do study English at the middle school for sure.
yes,
Okay,
yeah.
And
And
I had a question too. Oh, were you done, Elizabeth?
I'm finished, that's it.
Stella, when you said sometimes it's hard to approach the whole school as an institution, so you're thinking about individual teachers doing it that route, were you speaking about the Italian schools or the ones here or both?
Both, but the Italian schools, I have more contacts maybe, but I don't know, I don't personally know anyone there. I can arrive to them, but if I write to the school, they don't answer. I mean, I don't even know if they check the email, honestly, I don't know. So I have to find a way to talk with one person that worked there. Here, I think, I mean, I just don't know anyone there, so I don't know how the best way to approach them. I don't know if I can just write and say, or I should already have some contacts with Poggio to say, oh, we can do that. Because I don't even want to contact them and then maybe on the other side, they're like, no, we can't right now, I don't know. So maybe it's better if I talk to the Poggio people before. That seems like they are, I mean, they have maybe more things to do, so. And then later, after I have something, I can contact the one of the school in Charlottesville, I think, because in Charlottesville there are more schools than in Poggio, that's for sure. So
I've made some contact
Yeah.
this week with Charlottesville City Schools and might have a contact that we could.
okay, yeah. We can also do something like based on the number of students so that it can be more than one school. I don't know. We need to talk with them and see what they want to do, possibly.
Sounds good. Great. Well, thank you for your report and your goals. And again, if you would just write them out and if you could upload them into that folder, that would be much appreciated. Okay, so Weiwei Tenango. I've created some goals that I think are, they're pretty simple goals. Last year, we did not have, our goal was basically to finalize what our city would be. So now that we know that we have a friendship city in Weiwei Tenango, we can start to build from there. So my first goal was locate assistance to work with the Weiwei Tenango Sister City Commission. They are in need to get a formal program together, formal organization. And LES reached out to me about that. And I have been in contact with Fred, who is the Virginia lead for the Sister Cities International. And hopefully we'll get somewhere and find some assistance for them. So that is my first goal. Second goal is to recruit a commission member who has a focus on Weiwei Tenango. Obviously, we can't have a full-on member until they are a full-on sister city. You know, we can't have a city representative officially. So my hope is that we can recruit an at-large member whose focus is on Weiwei Tenango, and I have a report on that I'll give in that part of the of our agenda today. But that's my second goal, to recruit a new commission member focusing on Weiwei. My third goal is to promote the relationship with Weiwei through grants, projects, and other events. I'm hoping that we will have some more grant proposals this year from our community that have a nice connection with Weiwei. And I'm also thinking about some other possibilities that don't necessarily have to be complicated to do, to raise awareness of our relationship with Weiwei and get a little focus on that. So I've got some ideas on that you know, one of them is pretty easy. It's like a Weiwei Tenango coffee morning at Shenandoah Joe, where we, you know, something like that. I mean, my point is we can do some things that are pretty easy that raise awareness. And, you know, I like coffee, so, and their coffee is very delicious. So anyway, promoting the relationship to Weiwei, and then also continue to work with Sister Cities International and Weiwei on our path to full Sister Cities status. I mean, I think that's got it. These are pretty fundamental goals, but they really, I really think we need to focus on the fundamentals before we get too specific into, you know, other items. But I think these are goals that can be accomplished and are, you know, I think will get us started for this first year of a official relationship, first full year of an official relationship with them. So that is what I have for Weiwei. Are there any questions or comments?
Damon,
Yeah.
excuse me, did I speak over someone? I didn't mean to.
Oh, Elizabeth,
Yeah.
I'll go after you.
Okay, so I don't know if you've had any success at the level of either our regional rep or Sister Cities International getting your hands on, say, a toolkit or worksheets for guiding communities to create their own sister city organizations. But I actually did notice that we have a document on our drive that I would just want to point your attention to really quickly. And I think it's under organizational documents. And it is, let's see, guideline. It's from Sister Cities International. It's called Dormant Program Toolkit. I guess that's a toolkit for how we might put an active sister city into dormancy. That makes me think there has to be a similar program toolkit for how you establish a new sister city relationship. And you might just want to give that a look if you hadn't noticed that already, to see if, well, I don't know, to see if there's anything in it that would be useful, but also, you know, to circle back with Sister Cities International and ask if there is something comparable that can be shared.
Yeah.
For
thank you.
establishing, not for putting a sister city into dormancy, but for, you know, helping a new sister city as it puts its own organization and commission structure into place. That's my thinking.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for pointing that out, that document out to me. I will definitely look at it. Hopefully they will have some similar resources, and it would be nice if they existed in Spanish. I have to believe in all the Spanish speaking world out there.
Yeah,
There must be something that
Right.
exists already. And there are already a few sister cities in Guatemala. And perhaps we can connect those cities to our friends in Weiwei. And Elias actually, I think, is going to propose him going there and assisting in the process. So we're going to get there one way or another. But
yeah.
that's a good point on that document. I'll look at that. Adrienne?
Yeah, a couple of things. One, didn't Max say something a few meetings ago about us potentially making a special request of city council so that we could have a rep? I guess this would be recruiting a rep from outside our current ranks, but we could have someone who would tend to the Friendship City. I seem to recall there was a possibility that we could ask for that.
I had offered to write up request and that sort of, and then there were other conversations subsequent to that where we talked about just having one of the at-large people kind of take it on as one of their duties. But I'm still happy to make a formal request if that's the sense of the commission, or write up a request that we can submit to council.
Max, I see you here. Yeah, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, so I'll just add that in the past, that hasn't been standard procedure where there's been a commission member appointed to a friendship city in terms of that being an official seat. And so the board was having discussion of who would serve in that capacity to help, facilitate that relationship with Wayway. And one of the things that came up in that discussion was whether or not council could appoint someone, a new member, to serve in that role. So again, it doesn't exist. Our suggestion as far as the clerk's office would probably be to utilize the Ixchatan, if I'm saying that correctly, foundation to help facilitate that relationship. But of course you can, place any request that you like in front of council and let them make that determination.
Max, when you say use the Ixtatan Foundation, you mean, so there really would not be a commission, a new commission member connected to the Friendship City. It would be more the commission, our group here, kind of leaning on Ixtatan to temporarily serve that role.
Yep, that's it exactly.
Okay. Well, and there's nothing, is there anything wrong if we had a guest who regularly attended our meetings and assisted on a particular city? I mean, they would not be an official commission member, but they might be particularly motivated for Wayway or another city theoretically.
Okay. I'd have to check on it. I'm sure there's some parameters around a subcommittee and appointing volunteers from the community. I'm not really well versed. I don't want to give you the wrong information, but I could have that for you tomorrow.
Okay, sure. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Are there any other comments regarding Wayway?
Just that there was also a document following up on Elizabeth's remark. Damon, there's a document too on the Google Drive in the same location that's called Affiliating with a Sister City, Guidelines for Affiliating with a Sister City. And I haven't read it, but I just thought that might potentially be helpful too.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Now let's move on to Education Committee. Do you like to share goals?
So I think you and I are the Education Committee, correct?
I do believe so.
So I didn't actually prepare goals, a document for this, and I apologize about that if that was supposed to be my job, but I can quickly review what we came up with at our committee meeting.
I can also put out a few. I've got my notes here from there. One was recruit a new member.
Right, we definitely need to go ahead and fill the K-12 position, which is, open at this point, and orient a new commissioner to the roles and responsibilities, and then allow that person to advise us when they come aboard on additional goals that would align with our mission, with the mission of the commission. So we agreed that, that would be an important, that person, whoever that might be, when they're appointed, and it would be important to loop them in to setting goals for the year. We also said that we were going to take goal 2 from this past year. I'm sorry, Damon, I don't have that right in front of me. Do you have that goal handy by any chance?
I have the goal document.
I have it right here. Okay. We also said that we were going to take goal number 2 from 2021, which was the idea of hosting a virtual or in-person event that would have a particular would be a particular draw for or a particular impact on community members who tend to be less engaged or represented by our programming. And we discussed it and agreed that it made sense to recraft that goal for 2022 in such a way that we would ask the grants committee, or we would specifically try to solicit a grantee who might want to help focus on creating something like that, that we would have a particular interest in encouraging grant applications that might be related to that kind of an educational program. Does that jive with what you remember, Damon?
Yes.
Yeah.
And also in our goals, we talked, and gosh, I was in so many of those meetings the other day. I believe it was our committee where we talked about, instead of saying that we would create events that were specifically related to education, that we would kind of switch that around, and, you know, just adding on to what you just said, that we would recruit, hopefully, grantees who would incorporate education into their grants.
Yeah.
So that was something that we really, we both agree that, and I suspect you all might as well, that we do not all have the time or potentially capability to create and host lots of events. So I think we're leaning more towards looking towards grantees and other organizations in the community to lead programs and events with us coming in to assist. And
Right.
that's not to say we would definitely not host events, but that we would really put the onus more on the local organizations.
And then lastly, we agreed that a third goal is to basically rework goal number 3 from 2021. And that was to plan some kind of educational event that would allow local students to explore and enunciate their relationship or connection between Charlottesville and our sister cities. And so we decided that what we would do, because we have this Sister Cities International, we have this energy and momentum in the local school system for participation in the Sister Cities International Young Artists and Authors Showcase. It made sense to us to really give that some real focus and support as a way to involve students in the local school system in something that is consistent with the mission of the commission, because it's consistent with the mission of Sister Cities International. And so while that won't necessarily be a focus on our specific sister city relationships, it will always have something to do with global awareness, with international cooperation, because the theme every year will be something that invites students to think about and to address with their artwork, with their music, and with their writing entries, a theme of global significance. The idea that we create partnerships and that we become more internationally aware. And we felt like that's a really great annual program that we're invited to plug into. And since we've got some folks in Charlottesville, in the Charlottesville school system, who really like that program and want to help us make that keep happening, it made sense to us to have that as a goal for 2022, to be thinking about the educational event kind of in that way. And by the way, the theme for the 2022 YAAS showcase was just announced a week or 10 days ago. And so I'm already in conversation with our partners in the Charlottesville school system about getting that word out and starting to get both teachers and students in our local school system interested and engaged and participating.
All right. Good job, team. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions before we move to outreach? Okay, let's move on to outreach then.
Am I going?
Whoever wants to speak on behalf of outreach.
I think we did, and Michael and I met, and Michael, I recall that you were gonna try to list up our goals,
Yeah.
review them with the year before's goals or something.
Yep. So what we're going to do is for 2022, move one of our 2021 goals, the recommendations on future social media, to 2022. We did not get enough time and effort on that to complete it. Goal number 2 also is a carryover, which is identify a secondary person to manage the Wix website. Tentatively, that's Adrian, but we haven't done a lot of training and just crossover. Goal 3, review the brainstorming notes that we did for outreach ideas and take action on it somehow. You know, take one of them and produce a plan for how to do it, prioritize them, basically take some of that brainstorming and put it into practice. And that was our 3 goals for 2022.
And I think we also were going to, I'm not sure which goal this speaks to, but we wanted to get clearer on the purpose of the outreach subcommittee, what it is we are charged with doing and not doing. And we were going to get clear on that. It's kind of a policy statement, or, you know, who we are, what we do statement.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, that's an in progress in 2021. I didn't go far enough up. So in 2021, we had a created communications governance structure and future plan. And we marked that as in progress. And so we're working on a governance doc, which has kind of when, how often, what type of stuff we put out for outreach, what are the bounds around what is the outreach subcommittee's responsibility versus the commission as a whole, and then some kind of procedures or guidelines or best practices for getting content for the outreach. Going back to the beginning of the meeting of talking about the fire truck donation and the concert, getting that content so that we can make sure that we publicize it on the official sister cities websites, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc.
We may also implement some kind of a schedule where we would ask the city reps and the chairs of the subcommittees, those that are appropriate, for some kind of regular content, you know, some sort of schedule, nothing onerous, nothing burdensome, but just it's rather haphazard right now. At least that's my sense. And I speak about us as outreach committee. We've generated some content and gotten it out there, but then I think we have long pauses. And so we just want to get more regularized with content providing from you all or whoever are the key people, and then us making sure it gets out to the community.
Right, any other questions for outreach? And if you all could sum up your goals and upload them onto the drive, that would be appreciated.
Mhm.
Okay, next we have budget. Or budget request and funding procedures.
I think we have the grants.
Oh,
right?
sorry, I
Grants.
skipped over
Yeah.
grants. Pardon me. Thank you. Grants committee.
Great, thanks. So we have uploaded our 2021-22 goals into the Google folder. So maybe just a quick recap of those, and had, I think, a good discussion last week around future priorities. So first top goal is to prepare and complete the next grant cycle. And we'd like to say more about that in a moment. And also do go further this coming year in strengthening our grants procedures, including implementing the grant project liaison role that we've talked about some, but really need to now put into practice. And also ensuring quarterly checkpoints with each grantee. So liaisons are consistently following up, and we have regular updates on the progress of each grant project. So those are some of the procedures and improved processes we talked about prioritizing next year. We also set a goal to finalize and launch the travel scholarship program, which was the subject of a lot of our discussion last month. So that will include finalizing the overall design with all the feedback you provided, and developing further the process and procedures, and then launching. But this is also funding dependent, and if there's sufficient funding to launch the program next year. And then finally, we set a fifth kind of stretch goal to define what we mean by sponsorships and the kind of a sponsorship policy and procedures, since that sometimes gets lumped in with grant projects, and want to make the distinction between the two types of opportunities. So those are our 5 goals for the year ahead. And I think maybe we wanted to just also share our recommendations around moving forward the next grant cycle. And we'd like to propose kicking that off in December. We have had some discussion just about the timeline of that, and how to move that forward, and maybe making some slight updates to the application as well as we launch that. So Adrian, I don't know if you'd like to just say a little more about what we're thinking there in terms of the timeline and application.
Sure. We're talking about shifting to a schedule that really replicates what we did last year, more or less, when we were a little bit under the gun and also working within COVID constraints. So instead of having the basic changes, instead of having a deadline end of November, announcing the grant cycle at the end of November and having applications come due days before the Christmas holiday, we would move it ahead a month, and have the grant cycle open and the applications open in early December. And then people would have a full month, maybe possibly 5 weeks. They would have, say, to early or mid-January to submit their application. So it's about a shift of a month, and it's what we did last year, more or less. And it worked fairly well last year. And I just don't know that there's any, compelling reason to make sure that applications get in before Christmas. It kind of puts work on the grant subcommittee then over the holiday, which I suppose could be workable if you have more time then. But I thought there was plenty of time from January 15th on. It gave us the 45 days to let people know the results by March 1st. And then we're talking about a 1 year to use your funding and complete your project. So either March 1st to March 1st, or, and these are probably fine points, but potentially March 1st to closer to the end of our fiscal year, like June 30th. And I might be unduly influenced by COVID pressures where people have needed extra time. But in any case, the main thing is when we would open the grant cycle, when the applications would come due, and when the grant subcommittee would do their work would be between January 15th and March 1st, something like that, in terms of, we also have to align with our commission meetings, because we have to meet as a small group, and then we have to have a commission meeting in order to, share our recommendations. The commission needs to powwow on it. So some of this is very interdependent with the schedule of commission meetings. The other addition to the schedule would be making sure we have specific liaison people for each project, and they can come from the whole commission, not just the 3 or 4 person grant subcommittee. And asking them to check in quarterly. And we drew up a schedule. I won't go into that now, but we drew up a yearly schedule. And there's something every single month, except for July and August, totally nothing. But the other months, either we're doing some deliberating on who wins the grant awards, or promoting the application period, et cetera. Or those liaison persons are checking in with the grant project winner and reporting briefly, but reporting at our commission meeting. Here's the status of grant A or grant B. The only other probably more significant adjustment we made, Amanda, okay if I speak to this, some additions on the application?
Yes, please.
We didn't change the actual application that an applicant fills out, but we did change the text that accompanies it. And we added in there that we spoke about the responsibilities of the grant winner, that they would need to meet, they would be assigned a liaison person, they would meet with some regularity with the liaison person. We gave them some prompts for how they could be reporting on the progress of their grant. We said that under eligibility that it would be open to city and county residents. I don't know what made me do that. It wasn't in the earlier material, but I guess it just felt like a knee jerk. And then in some deliberations we've done between Dave and Damon and Amanda and myself, we've determined that we don't know of any reason why the grants cannot be also awarded to county residents as well as city. And I think those are the main points of the more additions than anything else. We really didn't take anything away from the application material. We just organized it a little bit more clearly, I think, under the topics of eligibility and the basics about funding, and then what are your responsibilities as a grant winner? What are the expectations? And I guess, I don't know if we have a proposal here for the commission now to take a look at those materials and make an approval, or are we asking right now for a basic approval about the schedule at least?
I think we need to go ahead and give approval, because we will be beginning this process before our next meeting. So whatever we need to do, we need to do it today.
So I think,
go ahead, Amanda.
Sorry, Damon, I was going to suggest, yes, the same, that we request the commission's approval to move forward with the proposed grant cycle timeline that Adrian outlined. So that's to launch, I think, by December 15th. And I think to close, basically to have notified all grant recipients no later than March 1st. So that would be our proposed timeline for running the grant cycle. And the decision-making meeting of the commission would occur in February. So that's the proposal, and we would appreciate commission approval to move that forward. The updated grant application, I think we do need to save that into the Google Drive for review, but Adrian has outlined those adjustments to the requirements around reporting. And I think the one around eligibility is one we can include or could table for the future if that feels like it's something that needs further discussion.
Excuse me, as far as the approval on the there are two things. One is the timeline, getting approval today, and then approval on the new application. If we get that on the Google Drive, how do we, if we want to open the cycle and get the open the applications process in the first week or two of December, how do we get commission approval on that? On the application content itself before December 10th, say.
Is there a way to have a proxy vote?
I think we need to go ahead and vote based on the description that we've been given. If you all are comfortable with that. I think Adrian and Amanda have outlined all of the key changes, and all 4 members of the grants committee believes that they're appropriate and useful for our work and moving forward. So I would propose that we vote on those as they've been stated.
We need to vote on them separately, though, probably just for Robert's Rules of Order.
Okay. So do we have a motion to vote on the dates as described?
Motion to approve the timeline, is that right?
Yes.
I move.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second. Thank you. All
Who
right.
seconded? I'm sorry, who seconded?
Dave.
Dave.
Sorry, Dave.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
All right. All in favor of adopting this timeline, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the ayes have it. It is unanimous. And on the same topic, is there a motion to adopt the updates to the Amanda, why don't you, how about you take a whack at what we're proposing here?
Yeah, thank you. And I was just trying to pull up, Adrian, I don't know if we'd want to just, if it's easier just to project so the
Sure.
commission can see the revisions.
Sure,
just
because
in
it's
full
only,
transparent-
we're
Yeah,
talking to, so I should share screen, is that right?
yeah, if you can, I can voice over real quickly. I think what are the potential substantive changes that are suggested here. One is in terms of process and procedures to make it more explicit that a quarterly check-in with the grants liaison will be kind of standard for grantees going forward. In the past, we've only required a presentation at the conclusion of the project. So we'd like to just request even a simple email update quarterly.
If the people can see this, I can
Yes,
slowly take you through and point out the changed areas.
Yes,
Perfect.
that'd be great.
go ahead,
So-
Adrian. Mhm.
Here it is, 2021, 2022. So this is the new year. We open with the mission of our commission, and that's nothing different from before. And then I just reorganized a bit these paragraphs. So program objectives, there's nothing new here except for a little bit of encouraging people to go look at the city webpage, Sister City webpage, and get familiar with grants that have won funding. So we will place the link here. There shouldn't be a question mark. That should just be, oh, I'm sorry, link here. And then this was the thing that I wasn't sure about, but Damon, Amanda, Dave all felt that there's no reason why this could not open to city and county residents. Eligibility is nothing changed. These are all the guidelines that we had in the past. Funding, we just got nothing changed here. We just made sure that everything that related to funding fell into this paragraph. It's no change, $4,000 maximum, and the business about either submitting reimbursements or an approved fiscal sponsor. This is something new. Responsibilities of grant recipients. Please see the list of guidelines below for formulating a strong application, as well as requirements adhering to grant winners. I'm proposing that we get rid of this sentence about the pandemic, because we're just going along with a new schedule that would have January 14th, which is a Friday of 2022, be the deadline for the application. Nothing changed in terms of the mechanics of sending it in via email or via snail mail. We may get rid of this paragraph, special considerations, or we may not. We'll decide if we need to tweak that. Finally, this is the new stuff: responsibilities of grant applicants / recipients. So much of this text is pulled from the older version. The mission impact, their project timeline. Again, these are the same sentences from the old application. They're just a little better organized. The budget, the selection process, all the same. I guess this is the really fresh, new stuff. Expectations of grantees. Upon the award of funding, grant recipients will be assigned a liaison person. This is what Amanda was speaking about before. Grantees will be required to meet with or otherwise contact their liaison person on a quarterly basis. And I gave some proposed questions. This would help the liaison person know, what to ask, what to talk about, and it would help the grant recipient know how she or he should mark the progress of his or her project. And then I put in, on behalf of myself on the outreach committee, grantees are also expected to furnish materials, be it text, images, audio, video, other content appropriate for dissemination. They can publicize the progress of the funded project and promote our grants program in general. And then this is old stuff. Lastly, grant recipients will be required to provide a midpoint progress report and make an oral or other type of presentation at the project completion. Those are things that we've already had in place. And then your submission of a Sister City grant application constitutes your understanding of these expectations. If it's too heavy-handed, please let me know or let us know, but we just wanted to really be clear on
So those are all of the updates, right?
yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to adopt these updates as?
It looks like there might be questions.
Yeah, can I request one change? Can we call it the 2022 to 2023 grant cycle? I know that we're starting it in 2021, but only with a few weeks to go. So
Yes,
the grant would be awarded in 22 and completed in 23.
thank you.
I just want to bring this to the notice of the Grants Commission, Grants Committee. Please, next time anybody request a grant, make sure what the person is writing the grant for is doable in all the in all the sister cities. By that, the person who is writing the grant must have prior consultation with the individual representatives to see if the grant that he or she is bringing in is going to be doable. Because there are some things that pertains to Europe that people in West Africa or people in Ghana or people in Winneba don't have a clue. Am I making sense?
I mean, I think.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Well, yes, I think that makes beautiful sense. And I would probably suggest one more very short paragraph saying, saying basically what you said in a little bit more formalese language,
Yeah.
but because you're right, we run into that already, where there were some ideas on the part of the grant recipient here, who, when they went to put it in action, they ran into some obstacles. So we would encourage, I would think we would want to encourage them to do preparatory work ahead of time to make sure that this project has a firm footing with your counterparts or parties in the sister cities that I don't know, maybe we're jumping the gun there. What do you think, Amanda, Damon, and Dave?
I would just add that we ultimately have the ability to vote for or against any proposal that is given to us. So if there's a proposal and there's no foundation, or there doesn't seem to be a strong ability to accomplish what they're proposing, first of all, we can ask them questions about that to get clarification. So, I mean, I think the grants committee is equipped to at least do our best to determine, a proposal's ability to be accomplished. I mean, I would hope that they would be proposing something that's legitimate and has a real opportunity to come to fruition. And I think the onus is really as much on us as it is them to determine if that's, if that is the case.
No, Damon, the legitimacy of what they are proposing is a different thing from the doable part. You see, it might be legit, fine, but then is it doable in all the 5 sister cities?
But I mean, I think there are elements in all the sister cities are different. And
Very,
I
very
don't know
different.
if we can have, I mean, I don't know how we would separate each city based on any other. I mean, I know there are some unique, talents and skills and abilities of the people in Ghana that would likely not be the case in Poggio, for example. I don't know. I think we're gonna be challenged if we start to try and determine each city's abilities and limit the other cities on what they can do based on other cities.
No,
Nana,
what I'm saying is there must be prior consultation before even the grant is put in, and the wording of the grant application must be like, after consulting with blah, 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 this is what, this is the grant that I'm writing for.
I think, I agree that actually the city reps are pretty valuable resources. If a grantee, if a grantee is proposing a project that would involve all 5 sister city or 4 sister city communities, then at some point in the process, whether we require that of the grant applicant before they even submit their application, or whether the grants committee comes to us, the city reps, after receiving a grant application, somewhere in there, it does make sense in a situation like that to consult with each city rep about the feasibility of what the grantee is proposing. Like I can say, yes, I think this is going to be easy for them to do in Besançon, or no, I think it's not going to be, given the status of our sister city relationship or something like that. I don't know if that's addressing what you're talking about, Nana, but it strikes me that that really makes sense as a part of the process.
Yeah.
Because I think the city reps know their communities, or at least theoretically they should know their communities.
Exactly.
And it doesn't make sense to agree to something that a grantee can't be successful with because they did not know in advance
Yeah.
something critical that would either be an impediment or a
Mhm.
barrier
Mhm.
to fulfilling their grant in,
Mhm.
in a particular sister city community.
Yeah. Yeah.
It may be burdensome to make all grant applicants have to reach out to all city reps, but it wouldn't necessarily be burdensome once grant applications are received for the grants committee to run them by the city reps and say, what do you think? Is this doable?
And I think we could drop in a sentence just that we encourage applicants to do as much groundwork as possible, or, you know, to do a fair amount of groundwork, and including maybe talking to the city rep if they have a specific city project in mind. You know, that would make their application stronger. And then I agree, after that point, we can't quarterback everything they do,
Right.
they want to do. So the subcommittee can then consult city reps to say, is what this person is saying or proposing workable? And I think some of the learning process on the part of the grant winner too,
Yeah.
is finding out what they thought they could do and discovering what they are really able to do. I mean, I don't think we want to figure all that out ahead of time, nor can we.
All right. Shall we go ahead and vote on what we've just discussed? Because we need to start this on, I mean, our timeline begins in 2 weeks, basically. So do you all agree with the document that has been shared with you and the comments that on the additions that we will make? Is there a motion to that effect?
I make a motion. Can I do that? To approve the
Sure.
new application for the grants?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, thanks, Dave. All in favor, please say aye.
I.
Aye.
I,
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, it is adopted. Thank you. All right, on now, and it is now 5:49, so we will plow forward. Budget request / funding procedures.
Yep. So 2 weeks ago now, a little bit more, we submitted a budget request to the city council. It was received. It is now going to go through the vetting procedure and the administrative work that they do in the budget committees to determine if they're going to fund it or recommend that it be funded to the city council. We requested $30,000. Did everybody get a copy of the request and the
Yeah.
budget? Okay. So one concern, I'll get to that in a second. So then the following Monday, Adrian and I signed up for spots to speak at the city council meeting. Did our 2 to 3 minute speak to the council in support of it. Did not get any follow-up questions or comments from the counselors. And so I would recommend that we formally request a spot in the city council agenda to do our annual report that is required by the bylaws to the city council, to see if we can get a little bit more awareness of what we're doing. I think that is especially important this year because we do not have enough funding at our current spend levels to keep going much longer. So our proposed budget for this year, the year that we're actually in right now, July through next June, we're expecting as of right now that we will spend $22,000. That's assuming that we fund all of the grants that we did and that we spend all of the travel money. If that goes through and all of our existing encumbrances are, somebody comes and actually requests that money, then we'll be left with less than $1,000 for next year's budget. So obviously we can't do a whole lot on less than $1,000. So we may have to make some hard choices this year in our current budget as to how much we do funding for. Unfortunately, we may have to make some of those choices not knowing whether or not we're going to get the funding approved from City Council, because that won't happen until, I believe, March of 2022, so 4 months from now. I have put all the current updated numbers into the budget, as well as all the transactions that I had as of last month. I need to get a copy from Kina from this past month to see if there were any there. I would also ask that the grants subcommittee, or possibly the whole commission, vote on some of the outstanding grants where there's a balance that's been carried for a while, to determine if we should keep that open or not. We still have grants that are pending from 2020, and some that are pending from 2021 with no apparent activity on them.
Okay, can we put that in our next meeting? A vote as to whether or not we can.
Yes, we can.
And I'll just make a short statement about, by now you know that I'm pretty much very enamored of structure and some kind of system to work within. And I'd like to do the same kind of similar operations on this budget request, so that we have in writing exactly what the expectations are and what the timing is. We did get a budget request in by October 29th. I don't know how soon we were informed of that deadline, but there seems to be a couple of slippages, at least in my mind, because Michael and I made our statements at the meeting and discovered afterward that city council members did not have our budget request in hand. So they probably were, I don't know, thinking our comments were coming from left field. At least that was my sense. Afterward, I felt a little embarrassed to make a plea about something that is not really within the documents that they're working with at present. And so I think it's important that we know, what these dates are, how this plays out. Will our request get to the city council, or does it first go through the city manager? We're learning about that. How to get on their agenda, which meeting agenda we ought to be shooting for, to be the most effective advocates for our program here. So those kinds of process questions are, really interesting to me. And if we can get something down that we can then use, learn from it and rely on each year, I think it will be helpful.
Max or Brian, can you tell us when the next meeting is that we could likely get on the agenda to provide a report?
I cannot.
Doesn't
Yeah,
the
so-
annual report come due at a very certain time each year?
Like in June.
So as
Oh,
far
that
as
doesn't-
can you guys hear me okay?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and so as far as how soon you can get on council's agenda, I'll get with Keenan and find out what's the first available date. We obviously don't have but so many meetings left in this year. And as of today, I know we didn't have any like special work sessions on the books or anything like that. So we'll see where there's an opening. And that's something else that I can send you tomorrow.
Okay, thanks. And if you think there is a particular day that would be more effective for us to speak at, to speak, by all
Okay.
means, please let us know.
Okay.
It
I can
seems
do
to me, timing wise, that it would make more sense to wait until the two new counselors are seated, so that it's fresh in their minds when they're making budget choices, since two of the counselors now won't be voting on the budget.
Right. That's a very good point.
So I could look at a date in January if you'd like.
That sounds good. Thanks.
No problem.
I also wanted to extend a special thank you to Adrian for helping work on the narrative and numbers that went into the proposal. We did a lot of work on that, sort of towards the last minute, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So thank you very much, Adrian. Couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you, Michael, and the same to you. The two of us really hustled, and he got some great graphics to make our case more clear. And we worked together on everything, really. And then that's why I felt particularly anticlimactic to learn that the timing just didn't seem to make sense. And what people were really concerned about in that meeting was the land use map.
Well, thanks to you both. I know you put a ton of effort into it.
Yeah, it was a great document, I thought. Really strong.
We're getting better.
Let's go to our eighth point in our meeting, and that is the recruitment of new commission members. And just to reiterate, the roles that are currently vacant are business, K through 12, youth, and business, K through 12, youth, and at large. So I reached out to Erin Huey Comers, who has been very involved with Huehuetenango. And she is going to apply for the at-large position. And she's very excited about doing that. So she asked me for any tips. I mean, she listed me all the different things that she's done, and she's done so much. And she's also already been involved in a lot of ways related to Huehuetenango. So I think she'll be a strong candidate. I also reached out to Charlottesville City Schools, to the coordinator of community relations and development, Beth Chuk, and she connected me to Allison Brown, who is the social science coordinator for Charlottesville City Schools. And Allison is going to help us with the process of finding a K through 12 appointee, Lord willing. And I also asked her if she could check on the possibility of a youth representative, which we also need. I mean, I figure if she's looking into a K through 12 rep, why not try to find a youth rep while we're at it? So those are a couple of, and another thought I had regarding the business position is reaching out to some of our more internationally related businesses or here in Charlottesville. I don't know if we've done that lately. Especially those that connect to at least the countries that we have as sister cities. So anyway, that's a little bit, I guess, to get our conversation started on this topic. Are there other?
Why don't we, excuse me, why don't we, with the business part, why don't we get in touch with the Chamber of Commerce to give us a representative?
Can't hurt. It's not a bad idea. Maybe they'll
Well,
have,
that person has to put herself or himself forward, right? And become a candidate.
they have to apply. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of our candidates have to apply.
But
Yeah.
that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
How
any other-
many, can you remind me how many at-large positions are currently open? Is it just one or is it more than one?
The webpage lists one, but I don't know if that is representative of multiples. Max, would you happen to know?
I think it's more than one on the webpage.
I think so too. Remember, we looked at this at the retreat and discovered that in addition to the standard number, there can also be one city rep per sister city. And so that means that we can have up to 14 total, I think, on the commission. I'll have to go back and look at that, but I think it means we have at least two, the potential for at least two at-large members.
So just as a reminder that Wei Wei doesn't have a seat. I'm sorry, I probably hear my kids in the background.
That's all right.
Does not have a commission seat. So that would not be a seat that we'd count. And then secondly, it's the other thing I wanted to remind you of. You may also be counting Keena's position as the staff liaison in that composition.
Right.
And so you only have one at-large vacancy right now. The vacancies that are listed on the city website are the only vacancies that the commission has at the moment.
I just shared my screen. Can you see these 4
Yes.
current vacancies?
Okay, great. Thank you.
So, it's my understanding that we do have at least one application in. I think Max mentioned that.
That's right. Yes, you do.
Can you tell us which category that fits? Like which category of applicant?
Sorry, having trouble turning my mic on. That would be an at-large seat.
At large, okay. All right, great. Well, thank you, Max. Any other
I wanted-
comments? Huh,
Yeah, I wrote up the procedures for this membership recruiting or the processes for applying, et cetera. And one concern I have about it, it's on our Google Drive. It's right now just a document alongside all of the folders. So it has not been put into a folder yet. But you'd find it's called procedures for recruiting members or something like that. And the concern I have is about timing. The city council will appoint or discuss, deliberate on boards and commissions members every quarter. And now they're slated for, and that is their second monthly meeting. So their second monthly meeting coming up to do this is December 10th. And we would have to turn that around and between December 14th, which is a Monday, and the Friday, 5 days, we would have to turn around and decide who we recommend, because it's due back to the city council December 20th. So it's a very tight window to pull this off. I don't know if eventually we can make some adjustments to that, or we just need to do more upfront work to get people to apply so that on December 10th, we would have as many applications as possible. But we have to make those decisions in a really tight window.
And in a window where we don't have a meeting scheduled.
Right.
So is it, and forgive me, is it required that the commission members make a recommendation to council?
It is not required, no.
Is it standard? I mean, is this something that's been done in the past?
It's an opportunity that we afford all board and commission, chairs or the board and commission itself, so.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, I can obviously, when are we able to see the applicants?
My understanding is as soon as the deadline passes, December 10th or the next
Right.
day. I think it's
So-
Max who gets us the material.
Yeah, so I'd be forwarding you the applications on the 13th, that following Monday.
Okay. Well, I will definitely make a point of reading them, and everybody else make a point of reading them, and you don't have to copy everyone to share your opinions with me. So you're welcome to email me your thoughts, and then I can synthesize those and give our recommendation to council. How does that sound? Since we can't have a meeting during that time. Okay, great.
That makes sense.
Sounds good. All right, let's go with that then. Thank you for putting that together, Adrian. Okay, moving on. So at our last meeting, we spoke quite a while on the topic of reimbursement of travel for city representatives, and we increased the level of reimbursements, 2,000, and we spoke for quite a while about Nana making that trip. And I think we are prepared to go ahead and vote on that. I don't know if we need to consider further discussion on the topic. It seemed everyone was supportive of it. So I'm going to ask, is there a motion to, yes, Adrian?
Sorry, I do have one. I just want to be clear on, we did decide 2,000 each rep per year, and not per year, 2,000 per rep in a year. And I think we had a $4,000 cap on it.
So yeah,
So that's
up
sort of
to-
two reps could go 1 year, another 2 reps another year. But my question is, what year are we talking about? We're talking about Nana's request for this trip. Nana, is it the fiscal year which? Just so we
Right.
can keep. Okay, so it's
So-
the 2021.
Yeah, 2021.
So we're done with 2021, like that closed in June. So we are in FY 2022, and I assume that the request would be for current money, not for next July. Is that
So
correct?
that means we have one request for city rep travel in the current fiscal year. And the current fiscal year will end in June of 2022. So if there were other rep trips in the pipeline before then, those reps would be eligible to request travel assistance.
Yeah, I think so. So I'll restate it. We have $4,000 that is currently set aside in the budget for the 2 reps, or I don't know if we could do more, but they would still be a max of $4,000
Right.
between now and June, say 30th of 2022, the next 6 months.
Okay.
And then it resets in the next year, assuming we get either funding or go out and have a bake sale.
So for our purposes now, we need to vote on approval for Nana's trip in or reimbursement of up to $2,000 for his trip in December.
December is right around the corner.
Yeah, yep,
This,
I think that's
okay,
right.
okay.
So do we have a motion to apply up to $2,000 of our funds to reimburse Nana for his upcoming trip in December?
I guess, wouldn't that be could Nana make the motion?
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it would be better if
I
it comes
move-
from somebody else. I mean,
Okay,
I move that we vote to give our city rep travel funding to Nana for fiscal year 2021-22.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, it passes. Thank you. And now our final piece is the funding request for $1,000 associated with the shipping of the donated fire truck to Winneba. And I just want to also mention that Nana did send his formal request for this and the previous point in our agenda. And hopefully you all had the opportunity to read it. It was very thorough and gave a good explanation on how these funds will be used. So any questions or comments on this topic? Okay.
My ongoing question is just that we eventually have a system for keeping track of what money is going to what endeavor, or what donations we're making in line with what limitations we have per fiscal year, if we have limitations. I just feel like sometimes it feels so a little random, and I just want to have a sense that, oh, here's what we've done within this fiscal year calendar, and it fits our agreement.
This is part of the larger ongoing, it's part of the ongoing fire, I forget exactly how you guys call it, but part of the ongoing project, is it not, to address fire safety in Winnabow?
I
That
thought I
went
heard the last
former
meeting
year.
I thought I heard at the last meeting that it was separate from the outstanding grant award from 2020 for $4,000. That this was in addition to that. Is that correct?
Correct. It's not part of the scope of that grant project, but it sort of fits within a larger framework of partnership, I think, between the two fire departments.
So do
And
we
you
have a
s-
motion?
Your request, Nana, said something about it being connected to or dependent on a city council decision, and they just made that decision in the positive. Did I understand that right?
It has to go for 2 readings to city council. It has to go for a first reading, which they did last night and approved it. And then it has to go back December 10th. Is that right? The first meeting in December,
December 6th.
December 6th, thank you, for final approval. So this award of funds would be contingent upon the council giving it final approval.
Thanks, Dave.
And let me make it a little better. Immediately, the very day on the 6th, when the final approval goes in, on the 7th, the shipper will have to come and pick it up straight to the port. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
do we have a motion to approve the use of $1,000 in funds to assist in the shipping of the fire truck? Anyone want to make that motion?
I made too many motions tonight.
I move.
I motion.
Okay.
I mean, I move.
Okay. So was that a second there from somebody?
I'll second. Oh, Folsom. Okay, you got
so
it.
So Stella made the motion and Amanda seconded.
Right.
That sounds good. All right. So all in favor of providing $1,000 to support the shipping of the fire truck, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Michael, was yours an aye or was it opposed? It was.
Yeah, no, I said aye.
Okay. All right, then it is a unanimous decision. So thank you, everyone. All right, so that is everything on our agenda, and we currently have scheduled December 21st as our next meeting. Is that everybody want to meet on December 24th? First, I hate to miss a meeting because it feels like every meeting we have so much to cover. Do y'all want to meet on that day?
Is it possible not to?
I mean, we can do whatever we want to, or we can try and pick another day. We could try to meet a week earlier.
Don't we have to work that out with Brian Wheeler?
Max?
I mean, I
Max.
think as long as we announce our meeting far in advance and as long as they don't have too many conflicts, I think we can change the date if we choose.
Why don't you just quickly take a poll of all the commissioners about who's available on the 21st and who's not, and let's decide to allow that to determine if we're going to go through the trouble of finding another date. That would be my recommendation.
Sure. How about raise your hand if,
Sorry.
yeah, go
Can
ahead.
I interject? Is there anything that we know of that's pressing that we need to meet about on the 21st?
That's my
And
question
at
too.
that point, we'll be in the process of the grant recruitment.
Right.
But there's nothing we
But-
need to do for that. I mean, the committee will be,
we,
That's right. That process should be underway. So we wouldn't have really an update except to say we launched the grants process.
Yeah.
There was the one point Michael raised around kind of just making sure we take a decision on what the firm deadline is for all grant projects to complete all of their spending. I think we can report back on that, but could that be deferred to January if there's no other urgent business?
Michael?
And I guess the other question, the other possibility is, if I understood correctly, if there are applicants for vacant positions, then council will have appointed those the night before. Maybe we won't have been, I don't know if we will have been notified or not, but if we were notified and we wanted to, if there was a need for any discussion about how to orient new members, or, when they would participate in a first meeting, that would, be our one opportunity to do that before, we get into the first quarter of 2022.
There was also a person who Dave brought to my attention who's interested in who is fundraising for a new monument in town that would give a video view of a location in a sister city. I was going to have him on the agenda in December. I don't know, Dave, if that's I mean, I don't think it's urgent, but. So what do y'all want to do? Do you want to try to meet, or do you want to take that day off and catch up in January? I mean, my only concern for not meeting is it just pushes, I mean, it's already 6:20. And
Oh my gosh, I have to sign off.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I was due somewhere at 6.
Bye.
All right.
We will
somebody
note
please
the
let me
meeting.
know what time we adjourned.
Will do.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Elizabeth.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
And I also need to leave, but
Who
so
can attend
Elizabeth, are you
December 21st?
available on the 21st or 14th?
She's gone.
So, I mean, if you all don't want to meet, we don't have to meet, but it's just going to make our meeting in January all the more lengthy.
I don't think, I don't know that we will have a ton, we still won't have a ton of grants work at the January meeting. We will have just started looking through the applications, so that won't take up a lot. So maybe we can skip and reconnect then.
I mean, I'm all for a day with one less meeting. So the items that we would be putting in that are orienting new members. Let's see, the discussion that Michael brought up. On the grants. And Dave's speaker. It'll be nice to have
And
some.
the grants would make a super brief announcement about how many, if the dates align, how many applications we had received and that we were getting in the process of reviewing them. But that's nothing.
Okay, so I guess we can push them off and try to do our very best to be as efficient as possible during that meeting. All right, does anyone have anything else they would like to add today?
just a note that we'll need to request a grant subcommittee meeting time, I guess. Adrian, let's look back at your calendar and perhaps we can follow up with Max and Kina about scheduling that.
Okay,
That's good.
That would be in, I guess, January or early February.
Yeah, I can get that on the books for you. Just let me know when and I'll coordinate with communications.
Okay, thanks, Max.
Okay, well, if nothing further, I guess we can close for the day. Thank you, everyone, for all your great work. And I guess we will not be meeting in December, so I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season, and we will reconvene on the third Tuesday in January for everybody. All right, everyone, thanks a
And
lot.
good luck. Good
Thank
luck, Nana, on the fire truck project. in
Thank you
early-
so
Yeah.
much.
And the
Very
upcoming
good.
Winneba trip too. Mhm.
Oh,
Happy
great.
holidays. Yes,
Same to you.
thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
It's
Thanks to Max
6:22.
and Brian.
Bye. Take care, everyone.